What is strategic foresight?
A lot of us, when they hear strategic foresight, they immediately think future status in future, and that's absolutely correct. However, I think it's super important to say that strategic foresight is not about predicting the future. It's rather about preparing for the different possibilities that lie ahead and really thinking about what those different possibilities might bring to our organization, but also to the wider environment as such. And unlike traditional forecasting methodologies, which are seeking to predict certain outcomes, strategic foresight really involves envisioning potential scenarios and thinking about the future in the mid to long term. And as we know, forecast in mid to long term has actually little value because all the assumptions that we will make while preparing forecast are unlikely to hold over the mid to long term. And I think although there is plenty of knowledge and insight in today's organizations, I think to a point there's maybe sometimes too much, right? The key, I would say, gap that I observe at least is the fact that we are using our kind of present mindset and almost mind frame and historical data to try to understand how the future unfolds. And foresight is really about kind of breaking some barriers and biases that we have personally and as organizations as well, to think about the future with a really open mind, with almost like the future lens, and then thinking back actually what must have happened to land on a certain scenario. So while predicting the future is impossible for sure, we can definitely plan for various possible outcomes. And I think it's very helpful to actually be able to test out strategic responses, which then allow you to kind of effectively and efficiently react to changes, and have almost like a design of a strategic response in place to almost whatever happens in the future. So, in few words then, what is strategic foresight? Well, first of all, it's a discipline that helps organizations to anticipate and prepare for future changes. It helps us to think long term and consider a wider range of possibilities than maybe what would we normally consider. It's about exploring those possibilities and not necessarily predicting outcomes, which I think we sometimes all guilty of. And as such, I do believe it really creates a very proactive approach to strategy, but also to how we're thinking about the innovation projects that we are running, that allows the managers, the businesses, not to just react to certain market changes, but really to kind of think forward and have that response ready once the change actually materializes. What might be interesting as well is maybe why I got into strategic foresight, right? Throughout my career, I always wanted to be close to innovation, and I was in the various roles that I had. But I did observe, however, there is a little bit of a disconnect between the organization's, let's say, high-level strategy and the innovation projects that are being run. And sometimes I think organizations are lacking that joint vision of the future, not a future that is a year ahead or 2 years ahead, but something that maybe is 5 or 10 years ahead of us. And I believe that strategic foresight is a great tool to achieve that.
Are you incorporating strategic foresight into decision making or would like to do it? I would love to hear from you.